Next, sew up the little bear. The sewing methods are exactly the same for both little bears. We'll demonstrate using the white one. Take out the main body part. The side with the eyes is the front side. Sew the nose onto the main body between rounds 6 and 9, covering these for rounds. There are 5 stitches between the 2 eyes. Let's first find the rounds. The complete bump in the middle is the first round. Second round, third round, fourth round, fifth round and sixth round. The round right under the eyes is the 6th round. 7th round, 8th round, 9th round. From the 6th to the 9th round there are a total of 4 rounds. Take out the nose. Place the nose between the eyes. On rounds 6 to 9, these 4 rounds. Find the yarn tail. Thread the yarn tail onto the sewing needle. Find a suitable spot. Insert the sewing needle through the hole between rounds 9 and 10. Pull it through from the top between rounds 5 and 6. Secure the top part as well. Make sure the position is correct. Sew along the edge of the nose. Take your time and sew it slowly and carefully. Be careful not to let the sewing needle poke through the yarn. After sewing, pull the sewing needle out from any spot. You can use the sewing needle to shape the nose rounder. The video doesn't show the full process. Feel free to shape the nose yourself. Weave the yarn tail back and forth inside the fabrics several times. Cut off the extra yarn tail. The nose is now sewn on. Next, sew on the ears. The ears are sewn onto the main body from round 4 to round 7, covering these 4 rounds. Symmetrical on both the left and right sides. First, let's find the rounds. First round, second round, third round, fourth round. Insert the sewing needle from 4th round, spanning 4 rounds. Use the sewing needle's position as a reference to extend to the other side. The left and right sides are symmetrical. Make sure the position is correct. Place the stitch marker on round 4 as a mark. Then place another stitch marker on round 7 as a mark. Let's also use the eyes as a reference. Counting from the eye backward to the stitch marker, there are 5 stitches in total. Do the same on the other side. Make sure the positions are correct. Attach the stitch marker as a marker. This helps prevent forgetting the exact position later. Take out the ear. Find the long yarn tail. Thread it onto the sewing needle. You can see that the bottom of the ear here is flat. Insert the sewing needle through the hole of the yellow stitch marker between the 4th and 5th rounds. Then pass it out through the purple stitch marker below. Remove the stitch marker. Be sure to pull the yarn tight. These 2 stitches we didn't crochet, and this is the first stitch of this round. Skip the first stitch and insert into the second stitch. Pull the yarn tight. Sew along the bottom edge of the ear. Be sure to pull the yarn tight while sewing. One ear is sewn. Weave the yarn tail inside the fabric several times to secure it. There's still a yarn tail on the back side of the ear. Thread the yarn tail onto the sewing needle. Insert the needle into the fabric through the nearest eyelet. We can pull both yarn tails out through the same eyelet. Tie a knot. One ear is sewn on. Cut off the extra yarn tails. Sew the other side the same way. Thread the yarn tail of the other ear onto the sewing needle. Insert the needle at the orange stitch marker at the bottom on the other side. Pull the needle out at the red stitch marker. This side is the front side, all facing forward. Sew along the edge the same way. Both ears are sewn on. Next, sew the arms. Sew the arms onto the main body between rounds 11 and 12, leaving a 9-stitch gap in the middle. The bottom round at the nose is round 9. Round 11 is this one. Find the middle of the main body. Insert the sewing needle right in the center. Cut down. These are rounds 11 and 12. The arms are symmetrical on both sides. Count for stitches to the right from the middle stitch. The arms lean forward. The insertion point is tilted. Use the same method on the other side. There's a gap of 9 stitches in middle. Looking from the top down, it's symmetrical. You can continue sewing now. Take out one arm. Thread the yarn tail onto the sewing needle. Pinch the edge of the last round flat. After inserting the sewing needle, remove the stitch marker. Make sure to pull the yarn tight. The sewing needle needs to go through both layers of the arm. The arm sewing is finished, but the front will curl upwards. Secure the front. One arm is sewed. The other side is sewn the same way. Please finish it on your own. Pull both yarn tails out from the same position. Confirm the positions of the arms on the left and right sides. Then tie a knot with both yarn tails. Cut off the extra yarn tails. The arms are sewn. Next, sew the legs. The legs are sewn onto rounds 16 to 18 of the main body. Round 10. Rounds 16 to 18 on these 3 rounds. Seven stitches apart in the middle. Starting from this stitch, count 3 stitches to the left. Attach a stitch marker. Count 3 stitches on the other side. Attach the stitch marker. Place the leg on the left side of the stitch marker. Span 3 rounds. Count 3 rounds down from the arm. Thread the yarn tail onto the sewing needle. Secure the top and bottom. Confirm the position is correct. Sew along the edge. One leg is sewn. Sew the other side the same way. The little bear's legs are sewn. Next, sew the tail onto the back of the main body between rounds 16 and 17. The bottom round of the leg is round 18. Count up to rounds 17 and 16. Take out the sewing needle and mark these 2 rounds. The tail needs to be sewn on the back of the main body. We can confirm the position from the bottom. Double-check the position from the top. Take out the stitch marker and place it on these 2 rounds. Take out the tail. Thread the yarn tail onto the sewing needle. Insert the needle from the bottom. Pull the needle out from the top. Remove the stitch marker. Secure along the edge of the last round of the tail. The tail is sewn. Weave the yarn tail back and forth inside the fabric several times. Cut off the extra yarn tail. The tail is sewn. Next, embroider the blushes. Take a piece of pink yarn about 15 inches long. Thread the yarn onto the sewing needle. Take out the main body. Embroider the blushes on the 7th round of the main body beside the eyes. The round just below the eyes is round 6. The round below that is round 7. Insert the needle from any spot. Pull the yarn through the first eyelet diagonally behind. Be sure to leave a long enough yarn tail. Tilt it like this. This way, to diagonal lines as the blush on one side is completed. Make the other side the same way. The blush on this side is also done. 1 stitch away from the eye. Pull both yarn tails out from the same spot and tie a knot. Cut off the extra yarn tails. You can use a sewing needle to felt the yarn end inside the fabric. The blushes are finished. Next, we need to embroider the nose tip. Take out the black yarn about 15 inches long. You can see 4 strands of yarn. Pull out 2 of the strands for sewing. It's best to pull them out 1 strand at a time. This can avoid the yarn getting tangled. Now both strands are pulled out. Align the yarn tails. Take out the sewing needle. It's best not to leave the yarn too long. If it's too long, it's easy to get tangled. Take out the main body to embroider the nose tip. Insert the needle from any stitch. Pull the needle out from the middle round of the nose. First, embroider the inverted triangle on top. Now, fill the blank space in the middle with black yarn. Here you can see some small gaps. You can adjust them with the sewing needle. Pull the sewing needle out from the very bottom of the nose. Insert the needle in the center and make a vertical line. Shape the nose into a smooth, rounded form. Tuck the yarn tail inside the fabric. You can thread these two yarn tails out from the same spot and tie a knot, or just cut them off directly. Cut off these two yarn tails. And just like that, the little bear's nose tip is embroidered. Next, we need to embroider the pop ads and toes on the little bear's leg. Take 15 inches of khaki yarn and thread it onto the sewing needle. Now embroider the pop ad. Insert the needle at any position. The pop ad in the middle is embroidered on the first round. After embroidering the pop ad, embroider the toes. Embroider the toes on the second round. You need to embroider 3 toes. This way, the pop ad and toes on one side are finished. We can adjust it again if needed. Tie a knot with 2 yarn tails. Cut off the yarn tails. Use the sewing needle to felt the yarn end into the fabric. Embroider the pop ad and toes on the other side the same way. Please finish them on your own. Both sides are finished. The little bear is completed. Please finish making the coffee little bear yourselves. Be sure to use the corresponding yarns for the 2 little bears. A coffee bear's paws and blushes are pink. 2 bears are completed.